Did you know that Vandenberg launched surplus Bomark missiles for the Navy to use for target practice? In the post-war shuffle by the services to redefine, or as in the case of the newly formed U.S. Air Force, define missions in an effort to guard against the Soviet threat, the Air Force accepted responsibility for continental air defense. In a defense strategy that called for fighter aircraft intercepts on the coast and Army anti-aircraft batteries on the interior of the country, Air Force planners saw a need for an area defense weapon, one that could be filled by the Bomark, a Boeing surface-to-air missile in testing with the University of Michigan's Aeronautical Research Center, giving rise to the name Bomark. In 1952, the Air Force projected a fleet of 52 Bomark air defense missile squadrons throughout the United States, Vandenberg Air Force Base among them. Construction began on the first Bomark sites in 1957, but by 1959, the number of proposed sites had dropped to 29. On 29 March 1960, that number dropped again to 8 U.S. sites along the eastern seaboard and 2 Canadian sites. Leadership at Vandenberg received notification of the change on 1 April 1960, along with an order for the Army Corps of Engineers to halt all construction activities at the Bomark launch facility, located near Lompoc-Casmalia Road, just east of the main base access gate. The project, at this point, was nearly 50% complete, with concrete foundations and structural steel in place for many of the buildings, off-site electrical and water facilities complete, and security fencing in place. The Air Force, as directed, returned for credit what materials they could, reallocated what they could not return, and otherwise reused the remaining materials. The site itself was later repurposed as a trailer park for base residents, with the concrete foundations used for trailer spaces. Just 5 years later, the U.S. Navy offered the Bomark A new lease on life, acquiring 125 missiles from the Air Force and modifying them for use as targets. The modified Bomark A weighed about 15,000 pounds, had a wingspan of 18 feet, was 47 feet long, and with a range of 200 miles, it could fly at altitudes of more than 63,000 feet and at speeds of up to 2,000 miles an hour. In September 1965, construction began on 2 coffin-type launchers and a ground control station on South Vandenberg using, in part, materials from the East Coast Bomark sites. By other surface-to-air capabilities rather quickly, the system proved useful as a target for Navy surface-to-air and air-to-air missile tests, allowing the Naval Missile Center at Point Mugu the ability to offer realistic targeting opportunities that would have otherwise been unavailable.